Hello, and welcome to a really weird episode of Codename New to Vero 2. Hi, I'm your presenter, Shabu Are You. Now, why I say it's weird, because this video is in response to everything that Retroblasting, a wonderful, great YouTube channel, and also another channel, DANOBY2. There is the issue that if you go to Retroblasting, you'll see the whole story about the sail barge and how an individual named Brent from Australia is having trouble bringing it to his country due to Hasbro's, offering and shipping issues, and how he's having to kind of going all this sidetrack. The issue is this, is that this guy, Danoby, is questioning Retroblasting, if the person's real, and everything that he's saying to support that. I'm coming in with, I'm a former government auditor, so my job, I audit in the private sector. So my job is to look at policy and procedures, and then go to, if it's an operational, if it's financial, follow accordingly and see if there's any issues, why they're not being followed, investigate those issues. And investigate individuals, say, hey, why are you doing this when it says to do that? And, if it's advantageous, then I'll say, hey, the person did this based on this, because of this, and I feel that this is optimal or the most efficient way to do it. But the point is this, is that for some person like Danoby2, to take time out of his day and whatever and undermine another person. Remember, there's nothing to do with Danoby2. He's not, it's not affecting him. So I don't know why he has such a big issue with Micheal and Retroblasting. And here's the other thing. I have spoken with Micheal from Retroblasting. I'm sure he knows who I am and I know who he is, but I'm not really buddy-buddy with him like, as I would, other content creators. So it's not like, oh, I'm his best mate and, I'm going to come to it. I'm looking at this as objectively. And I watch both videos because, it's not fair to Danoby2 without hearing his whole side. And that's what a person with intelligence should do. Listen to both sides, what they're saying. And my initial reaction from my professional experience is that it seems like this is a personal thing that Danoby has towards Micheal and Retroblasting. I don't know why. I don't know the history of it, and it's not my business to know. But objectively watching, and from watching Micheal and speaking with him those brief times, he doesn't come across as a person to play games and manipulate this for personal, bettering his cause. I agree with everything he has to say about the sail barge. I don't have it. I don't want it. I think it's the very evil, it's the evil empire in plastic form. And I love Star Wars. I've always said that. Born in the same year, grew up with Star Wars, Empire, Return of the Jedi. And part of the reasons why I stopped being so hardcore into Star Wars collecting is because of this nonsense. It's like, why? Doesn't make any sense. So here's some things. I know the GIJOE guys, and I could say they are my friends. And I know that Brent is real. Like, he is in our GIJOE community. Like, he is there for GIJOE and ACC 788. I know him. Like, you know, he writes comments. Like, you know, he's one of those guys you see pop up that always has a comment. So, yeah, he's very real, and, you know, I know that because I see it. I'm involved in the community. So, to Danoby2, this Brent from Australia is very real, and I don't have a sail barge. I have no gain from making that statement whatsoever. And to Danoby number 2, why? What's the big deal? Like, he's not like getting like, he's not breaking any rules. Like, Retroblasting isn't doing anything wrong. You will come across as an ass by all means. It seems like you are possessive, that you are the authority in Star Wars. You're the authority, you know, and everybody else is, we're just, you know, peons compared to you, you know. If there was another star on the credits, I think it sounds like you're entitled to be in the credits of every Star Wars movies. I think maybe you have a unhealthy psychological disorder of attachments to something, and you feel that Micheal is a threat to, you know, how dare you say something, you know, kissing Hasbro's butt. I mean, are you like married, or I mean, have you talked to a woman without using your credit card? I mean, why are you so like up at arms about this? You have a big number of subscribers, but are you defined by that number? Are you defined with being part of a community? Because it seems like you're on this pedestal and everybody else is down here. That's not what this community is about. And taking shots at Micheal and belittling him, it's not right, buddy. It's wrong. You should. Why do you need all of this proof? What are you gaining from him making him do all this? Doesn't make any sense. Why? You know, there's plenty of social issues out there that we're dealing with as a country and as a world. Why aren't you adamant about those things? And why over having Micheal from Retroblasting calling him out? Like, what are you going to gain by it? Nothing. So keep yourself in check. I don't know, what is your, did you go to like, were you not able to get into a real 4-year university that's first or second tier, that you went to a community college and you're the nerd of community colleges, and you know, lived at home with mom? There's a lot of psychological issues that seem to be manifested from this calling Micheal out. And I think you need to deal with those first before pointing the finger at someone else. And I'm sorry, I don't know you, and by me, I'm just doing what you did, taking a page from it. I'm voicing my opinion from what I saw. And I think you're very wrong to do that to another person. It's not right. You don't own Star Wars. Nobody does. It's not your Star Wars, okay? It's not your sail barge, you know? Other people are entitled to it. They can do whatever the hell they want. And whatever. The fact of the matter is, it doesn't make sense to take time out of your day to do this to another person. It totally doesn't, man. It's so not cool. Micheal, I support, you know, objectively, I'm not really your friend. I know you, you know me, but we're not buddy-buddy. But I do agree with your point on the sail barge. I think it's 110% right. It is evil. It is very bad that international fans, and I know Danoby pointed out to exclusives. Yes, I know that, but not in this type of scale. Not how it's being funded and being presented to the public. Star Wars has never done that before, but Hasbro's doing something new. So that's why these issues come up that Micheal has brought to our attention. It does feel yucky, and as someone that can buy it and is a diehard Star Wars fan, morally I think it's wrong. I don't want it in my collection either. I mean, that's the way I feel. And if you have two, great. It doesn't make you, you know, sitting next to riding shotgun in the Millennium Falcon. I mean, maybe in your head it does, but the reality is it doesn't. And maybe you could have used that money to help social issues, like, you know, we have interfaith going on. Maybe you can contribute to that. Alzheimer's awareness, animals. Maybe you could use the money to do that instead of buy a second sail barge. And what's the point of having two? Is it proving your Star Warsness? I don't get it. But anyway, that's my feeling on this subject. And I fully believe and support the G.I. Joe Burr guys. Those guys are awesome. They're men with character and men with ethics and values. So when they say something, I believe it. You know, the same thing with ACC, the same thing with 3D Joes, and a lot, Form BX257. And even though I'm not friends with Micheal, I do believe it when he says that. I mean, you could tell when someone's lying, like, you know, or rehearsing something or fake. And that letter that Brent wrote, that's Brent's letter. Like, if you see how he writes in the comments and stuff, I could see Brent doing that. So, I'm sorry, your whole thing to smash a man down for no apparent reason, it seems like it's a personal thing that you have. Maybe you're mad that he's married, he has a job, he's able to do stuff, and also collect. I don't know, it just seems like you have personal beef with him for some reason. So, just forgive and forget, man. Just let it go. Just say, hey, man, I'm sorry. That would be really big of you. If you made another follow-up video and apologize and say, hey, I'm big enough to say I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. I bet you'd get a better reaction than your present course right now, DANOBY2. So this is Shabu RU from Codename New2Vero2. Thank you. And remember, #community. Peace.